Good to talk to you, Pauline. We've talked previously about Annastacia Palaszczuk's hard line on that New South Wales border. She's been ruthless about it, callous about it in some instances. She seems to be softening, obviously opening up to the ACT the other day, and now on the 1st of October, a bigger border bubble, which will be very good for a lot of those people in those northern New South Wales towns. What do you think would be behind her shift?
Well, what's happened is Labor Party has done some internal polling just recently, and we've heard that they're in line to actually lose quite significant seats held by them. That's Maryborough, Rockhampton, Keppel, Barrengower and Cook. So they're in line to lose these seats. So I tell the people out there, don't waste your vote on the LNP and don't waste your vote on the Labor Party. That's why they're concerned about it. She's getting feedback from people, especially the business community and tourism and hospitality industry, that they're going belly up. A lot of the tourists in Queensland that are travelling, getting out travelling, that's actually buoyed the industry, quite a bit, but they need more than that because we've lost the international tourists.
The news poll out today, though, would suggest that most Queenslanders are supportive of the way that Annastacia Palaszczuk has managed the pandemic response. So what you're saying would fly in the face of that polling?
Yeah, that's the internal Labor polling that we've actually got word back of these seats that they're in, destined to actually lose these seats. There's another thing too, is if you actually have a look at the economy, we were poorly managed by Annastacia prior to this. She's shutting down the reef policy, the mining industry, the pastoral, no water security in Queensland. And I think people are starting to wake up to it. Also, the way that she has handled the border, she's been very, unsympathetic. She hasn't been compassionate whatsoever, and not allowing people from across the borders to actually use the hospitals in Queensland. So I think people have really seen the hardline side of her, and if she gets back in again, I don't think they want that in a premier.
Well, yeah, of course, the electoral dynamics are going to be important here. I'm kind of interested mainly in what's best for the country at the moment, economically and socially as well, for communities in this country. And obviously, there's a lot of people in New South Wales. We can perhaps discount Victoria for a while, but in New South Wales, who'd love to go up and spend their money in Queensland. And here's what the New South Wales Premier GLADYS BEREJIKLIAN said today. She wasn't just welcoming the relaxations, she wants more.
I feel, given where we are in the pandemic, given that people do want to plan ahead for the school holidays, but also for Christmas and reuniting with family, I would like to see that border come down entirely.
Pauline Hanson, is GLADYS BEREJIKLIAN right?
Yes, she is right, because we've got to look at the future of the country. We've got very few cases in Australia, and I believe that we can actually handle it. People are actually keeping their distance. They're actually taking more hygienic measures to actually look after their health. But those people who are vulnerable, go and lock yourselves away. If you feel that way inclined to do it, but you can't destroy our economy. Now, because we've still got JobKeeper and JobSeeker going, and the banks haven't started to foreclose on mortgages of people, that will come next year, because the federal government cannot keep propping up the economy with handing out these huge amounts of money. So we actually have to start realising that people have to work, they've got to pay their taxes. If we intend to have the lifestyle and the amenities that we enjoy these days, we've got to get it by paying our taxes. We've got to get out there and work. And hearing businesses all the way up, they said they can't get workers. They've got signs out. Operators who own the businesses are putting in extra hours themselves because they can't get workers. And I blame the federal government for this, Chris. They've actually kept propping it up. This JobKeeper and paying businesses, I spoke to one fellow bakery. He said, the government's putting $24,000 a month into my account. He said, I've got $100,000 there. I phoned them up to tell the ATO I don't need the money. And they said, no, you're on the scheme. You're getting paid it anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the biggest payment scheme in the history of the country. There's going to be rorting and wastage. That's why it's such a worry. Just very briefly, mentioning the Queensland state election, where are you on the AFL Grand Final and taxpayers' money being tipped in for it?
Oh, I'm not for it. I'm sorry. I know people love their sports. You want to go to sport, you pay for it. The AFL get paid a huge amount of money. We've got so many on the board. I'm sorry. You want to enjoy your sport, you pay for it, not the taxpayer. I've got too many other charities and organisations that desperately need money for community services.
Pauline
AFL,
Hanson.
Pay for it yourself.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us, Pauline.
Thanks, Chris.